In Parshas Kisisa, we begin with the Machtzit Hashekel. Every single person gives a Machtzit Hashekel, a half shekel. Ha'ashir lo yarbe, the rich don't give more. V'hadal lo yamit, the poor don't give less. A Machtzis. Everyone only gives a half. And the commentaries explain that the reason why we give a half is because every Jew is only a half. We are incomplete without the other Jew. We're only a half. In fact, the word Machtzis, if you split apart the letters, you will find that it spells out Chatzi Meis. We are half dead without another Jew. We're only half alive. A beautiful thought. But I would like to share with you a different thought. A thought from the Toldos Yaakov Yosef, a great Hasidic Rebbe. And he explains that the half shekel that we give shows that we are only a half. There is another half, an identical half, that is above, that is in heaven. And the job of every Jew in this world is to make the half down here on earth mirror and match the half up in heaven. And if our deeds are noble, if we act like a Jew is supposed to act, then it's a match. Then the half below will match perfectly with the half above. You know, there's a craze. It's called the 10-year challenge. And you post a picture of yourself 10 years ago, and then you post a picture of yourself now. And it's cute, it's humorous. It's sometimes a little bit upsetting to see how you looked 10 years ago and how you look now. It's the 10-year challenge. And the goal is that it should be an identical picture almost. You didn't change much, even though you've aged and maybe put on a little bit of weight. But you know what? You look pretty much the same. There was a great tzaddik by the name of the Volbrummer Rebbe. And the Volbrummer was not a well-known individual, but he was a big tzaddik. And when the war came, he no longer had a shtreimel, he no longer had a beard, he no longer had payas. They shaved it all off. And he was a regular Joe. He was just like everybody else. He suffered like everybody else, he worked like everybody else. And unfortunately, wasn't able to do the many mitzvahs that he liked and he appreciated and he cherished doing like he did before the war. And then the war ended. And the day that the war ended, one of his Hasidim stood next to him. And now, he was again a Rebbe. And he was sitting down in one of the barracks when two young teenage boys were standing there as well. And the Gabbai, the only chassid that he had, called over the boys. The Rebbe wanted to speak to them. And now they're standing face to face with the Rebbe. And they look at his eyes. They are piercing eyes. And he looks at them and he smiles at them. And he pulls out of his pocket a tiny picture, 3 centimeters by 3 centimeters. It is a picture of himself from before the war. The picture of the Rebbe in all of his garb, and the picture of a man who was a war survivor. And he had held on to it through the horrors of the camps. And he looked at these 2 young men and he said to them, never forget who you are. When we're young and we're idealistic and we have the world at our fingertips, we can accomplish anything. And then life happens. And all of a sudden, we no longer think we can be as great as we once were. But a person has that image of who he wants to be, then he can always remain that person. You know, when you walk through the hallways of an elementary school, when you walk into a first grade, you'll ask the kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? Some will say they want to be a fireman or policeman. Some will say they want to be Superman or Batman. Some will say they want to be the Gadol Hador or the greatest tzaddikas. You ask them in 8th grade, sometimes the answers differ. Nobody wants to be Superman or Batman. Nobody wants to be the Gadol Hador or a great tzaddikas. The trick is to hold on to the dreams of your youth, to let the machtzis down here match the machtzis, the ideal, the potential that you dream and hope you once were and you can always be.